west coast of Australia is one of the flattest, windiest places on Earth. We've been flying paragliders here for about 12 years. In the early days, we were often frustrated by a severe shortage of decent-sized hills to fly from. Tow launching is very popular, but it requires a fair bit of extra equipment, people, a winch, a tow vehicle, and a decent driver. About 10 years ago, a few of us were practicing launching and landing from a small sand cliff on a beach about 50 kilometres north of Perth, the capital of Western Australia. Paraglider design at that time was still in its infancy, and big jumps in performance were still common on an annual basis. We soon discovered that the newer gliders could actually glide some distance along the sand cliffs, that in the right conditions it was possible to take off and land at the base of most low ridge sites, so you didn't even have to walk back up the hill. After a lot of persistence and practice and some new gliders, beach and low ridge flying finally became a valid form of flying in WA. It does take practice, but it's about the best way I've seen to get to know your canopy very well, very quickly. Legalities. You should make sure that this type of flying is actually legal in your area and approved by local government authorities. Many low ridge sites, despite their overwhelming altitude, can actually be within controlled airspace. Many are also recognised rated flying sites managed by local clubs, so if you're new to the area, it's more than polite to speak to those local pilots before you fly there. Dune care. When you are flying on beach sand dunes, make sure that you are in an area where you have permission to do so. Many beach areas have local dune care groups. The sight of a paraglider pilot traipsing all over the dunes can, and has, resulted in the loss of that flying site. Safety. Most of the low site flying we will show here has been filmed on beach sand dune sites. This means you are obviously very close to the water, and sometimes may even have to lose height over the surf to be able to land on the beach. Landing in the surf is one of the worst case paragliding scenarios. Even if you land on the beach, it's extremely important to keep your canopy out of the surf at all costs. Pilots have been dragged into the surf by their canopy and almost drowned in a tangled mess of lines. You should always fly with a friend or where help from the general public is obvious. Low sites often appear very safe. People think, it's a beach site, how can you get hurt? The simple fact is that to stay aloft on low ridges, you need to fly in wind in excess of 12 to 15 knots, 22 to 28 kilometres an hour. This means there are some pretty powerful forces at play. A badly handled canopy in these wind conditions can easily pluck you off your feet and lead to a downwind, high-speed crash. The results from this can be very serious, even fatal. Remember, it's just a sport. Don't spend the rest of your life paying for it. Wind strength. When using a wind speed meter, always measure from the top of the dune. There are days when there's barely enough wind for a reverse launch down on the beach, but it's actually blowing 15 to 20 knots on the top of the dune. If you're going by someone else's readings, make sure that you are all talking the same units. Many pilots use kilometres per hour and many use knots. Make sure you understand both, or always go by your own meter. If you haven't flown low sites before, make sure that your first flights are supervised by someone who has and knows what they are doing. Quick, accurate responses to what your glider is doing is the key to safe low flight. Spend some time out in front of the ridge in fairly light conditions, just practicing lifting the glider, keeping it over your head, walking backwards, getting the glider to go where you want it to. When you are more confident, move backwards towards the ridge, testing the lift, even doing short hop flights.